Alrighty, everyone. Enough of that pre-stream baloney. It's time for that prime pre-stream podcast, Pimento Loaf. Good morning, everyone. How you doing? And welcome to the pre-stream podcast. Today is Thursday, the 14th of April, 2022. And indeed, I am Darkside Phil, and I welcome you here to my daily streams. Hello, hello. As you can see, I have the nice, lovely history of FromSoft border up around me here, all my different runs in FromSoft games historically, because today we're playing Elden Ring. And incidentally, on today's pre-stream podcast, I have a little bit more to talk about in regards to my Elden Ring run, which now has been going on for officially a month and a half. Yes, I've actually been playing Elden Ring for a month and a half. The playthrough currently sits at a whopping 94 parts, but some of those parts are actually longer than an hour, and some of them are a little under because, you know, tech difficulties and things with the timing of the recording. So in general, we'll just say it's around 94 parts / 94 hours of gameplay, okay? Now, from all reports, if you do pretty much almost everything you can find in the game, including all side content that you can run into with NPC questing and the like, it's about 120 hours long, okay? People who've been watching me play basically say I'm in an area that's an endgame area, but I just basically started it. And I got to explore it and do all kinds of stuff in it. I guess there's a dungeon, and then you go down another area. There's another area with another dungeon area kind of stuff. And apparently there's one more secret area to the game left. I don't know anything about it. I just know there is another secret area to the game that I hope I can find, because I obviously want to find it. And then essentially there's the end game. So with basically 3 major areas left to really explore, yeah, we still got a ways to go. Even this week, playing it three times, 3 hours, so 9 more hours, plus maybe another week. You know, we may be playing Elden Ring until the end of April, which is fine. You know, the first month I played the living crap out of it. I was playing it nearly nonstop. And a lot of people got burnt out and tired of it and said, can you alternate Elden Ring with other content? So I did. I started alternating it with Ghostwire Tokyo. Now I'm alternating it with Lego Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga. Although, admittedly, excuse me, because my allergies are still bothering me. Admittedly, yes, I'm getting the most attendance, the most interest, and even, for the most part, the most support during the Elden Wing. Elden Wing. That would be a different game. Elden Wing. It's all flying. Anyway, Elden Ring streams, yes. And even if you take a look at all of my playthroughs on DSPGaming for over 2 years, Elden Ring is the playthrough that's gotten the most views, engagement, and attention, okay? So it's obvious people were really interested in seeing me play Elden Ring, and I'm down for that. Like I said, I told you guys I like the game a lot. I definitely think it's one of the best games I've played in a while. The type of game fits my streaming style and my level of interaction with you guys. It's a really good organic mix of you guys trying to help me out when I get stuck or help me find hidden content that there's no way I would find in a blind playthrough. At the same time, I've done my best to try to entertain you guys over the past month and a half. If you haven't noticed, I change my build a lot. I'm not just using one weapon. I'm basically trying to alternate between these different weapons and playstyles so that it doesn't feel like I'm doing the same thing the entirety of the playthrough. And if something feels stale, like, oh, he's using the Magma Worm Sword too long, he's using that Erd Tree Spear too long, then I'll try to mix it up purposely again, okay? So, I'm doing my best, and we're still making good progress in the game, okay? So, I'm excited for that. Obviously, I wouldn't be using a cool Elden Ring border today. These are all the different characters that I ever used in any run in any FromSoft game. You can see all my different created characters over the years. And the culmination in RL Dumas, or Real Life Dumas, who I've been using for this playthrough of Elden Ring. So, excuse me. Excuse me. So, I hope you guys are excited for more Elden Ring today. What I'd like to do is run through the schedule for the week, and then I have an update, an actual important update regarding my coverage of Elden Ring. I wanted to do this yesterday on the pre-stream podcast, but we had annoying technical difficulties that delayed the podcast a whole half hour, and by the time that I got around to talking about the schedule, I forgot about it, all right? So I definitely want to let you guys know what's going on with Elden Ring and how I'm going to go about it. There's an update on that, and let you know what else is going on this week. News-wise, there's not much going on at all today in the news. So it may be more of a stream that's more about Q&A with you guys and just chatting and killing some time before we jump into Elden Ring, and then we're going to have a big hearty helping of Elden Ring gameplay, okay? All right. Excuse me. So let's talk about the schedule, shall we? Today, it's a nice pre-stream podcast, and then it's Elden Ring. Duh. Like I didn't already say that, right? Later tonight, the late stream at 6:45 p.m. Pacific time will be Skyrim After Hours. It is a 2-hour late-night chill stream of Skyrim Anniversary Edition, which we've been playing since December, and the playthrough continues. By the way, we're about the same number of parts in Elden Ring now as we are in Skyrim. Of course, Skyrim, I've only been playing night streams for several months, which is why we haven't made much progress, but it still continues, and it's still a great time every time I play it. We're actually currently in the middle of the Dark Brotherhood quest line, which is the assassinations that you need to do for a secret society. And I'm having a good time with it. I'm excited to continue that tonight. I hope you guys will join me for that. It's been a good time. If you haven't noticed, I would just like to call your attention to something different here. All right? For the last few days, I've been experimenting with ultra low latency streaming. What that means is that basically there is almost no delay between what I'm recording right now and you seeing it. We tested it the other day, and it's only about a 5-second delay. That's good. That means that when I play games now and you guys react to what's going on, not only do I get to see the reactions way more quickly, but also it's going to help out with the interactivity that we have. If we're having Q&A, I can see your questions and answer them more quickly. If I'm in a game and you guys see me running by an item or a secret, you can say, hey, Phil, it's right there, and I'll see it right away, as opposed to it used to be upwards of anywhere from 15 to 30-second delay. So by the time you guys said something, I'd be like, oh, really? And sometimes it'd be way too late for me to even bother with it or do it. Like, this has actually happened recently during the Kirby playthrough, where there was a few items that you absolutely had to grab them once, or if you didn't get them, you couldn't get them. Same thing with Elden Ring, where there was opportunities where, oh, here's a secret, or here's something here, and I didn't know. In particular, when I was fighting Patches. Now, this really stands out. When I was fighting Patches at the beginning of my playthrough, it's a boss fight. I'm thinking, oh, it's just a typical FromSoft boss fight. When and ever in a FromSoft game were you in an official boss fight with a boss that had an actual boss meter and you had to stop the fight? I don't think it's ever happened, has it? Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think it's ever happened. Well, that's what happens in Elden Ring. And so I didn't know that, and I killed Patches. Now, for the most part, it didn't affect my playthrough until just recently, when I found out that if Patches had still been alive, he basically would have been in Volcano Manor and would have had a quest line there. And with that quest line, I would have been able to have done an extra assassination, and I would have been able to get the Magma Whip item, which, by the way, is for my build. It's Strength, Dex, and Faith, and it's an amazing weapon that is hilarious. The animation, you're like, whip it good, whip it. And as you're doing this, giant explosions and eruptions of lava are like squirting everywhere around you, and any enemy near you gets comboed into it and dies. I've seen people use it online. I was like, dude, I want that so bad, and I can't get it in my playthrough because I killed Patches early on in the playthrough. Now, if I didn't have a 30+ second delay, I would have seen you guys say, hey, wait, don't kill him. Because you did. People were saying when I was fighting Patches, hey, Phil, just so you know, don't kill him. Just get to the end, but don't kill him. And I didn't see that, and I murdered him. And then, like, later on, the message popped up, and I'm like, well, it's too late now. So that's just one of the very, sorry, he's an asshole in chat, I gotta get rid of. One of the very prime examples of where if I had better, quicker interaction with you guys, that it would have avoided disaster and actually might have led to some more interesting stuff in a playthrough. Okay? So that being said, now that shouldn't be an issue anymore. 5 seconds is such a minuscule amount. And I hope that this will make the playthrough better now in the long term. Not only Elden Ring, but all my playthroughs, okay? But there do appear to be some trade-offs. Trade-off number one, apparently there's no more closed captioning on my streams. Not to say that this was a giant issue. And by the way, from what I've understanding, YouTube closed captioning was atrociously bad anyway. If you don't know what I'm talking about, when I create content for YouTube, YouTube has an automatic process that it runs. It tries to auto detect via audio, and I don't think it lip reads. I think it's just audio transcription. It tries to create subtitles to match what's being said on the stream, so someone who's hard of hearing can still understand what's going on a stream, okay? Now, with the old style streaming I did, it used to do this on the fly. Now it doesn't anymore. 5-second delay isn't enough for it to do the closed captioning. But, again, from what I'm understanding, the closed captioning sucked anyway. It was, like, always half off. So if you were actually trying to use it, you'd be so confused because half the words weren't correct. Now, in addition to that, I've actually been told that if you use, say, a Google browser to watch YouTube, the Google browser has built-in closed captioning as an option, and that closed captioning is better than anything that YouTube had been previously doing anyway. So if you're hard of hearing and you've been using closed captioning, you could just use a Google browser and it solves the issue, and it actually is better than what you were using anyway. Okay? So there you go. I mean, that's a, I guess, what is it, Google Chrome? Yeah, Google Chrome is the Google browser. That would be your solution to that. Now, outside of that, I haven't really heard many other complaints. I've heard a few people claiming that the stream's buffering, but in general, it's not true. Like, most people are saying, no, it's exactly the same, which leads me to believe it's just people trolling and trying to say bullshit to try to make me feel like I can't improve my streams because it's nonsense. I don't really believe, if 2 or 3 people are saying that, I don't believe it. If the abundance of people, even regulars, were coming back and saying, oh, it's way worse, then I would be listening, but I haven't gotten that feedback, okay? Now, out of nowhere, by the way, D-Man Game says I wanted for murder. That's interesting. Considering that I've been home playing video games constantly, I don't know how I could possibly be wanted for murder. There you go. Anyway, I think he wanted to see how quickly I would react to his comment. There you go. It was 5 seconds, right? It was real fast. Should have been real fast. Okay. In addition to that, the only other problem we seem to have was yesterday. Now, yesterday, this was the oddest thing. I turned on my stream, and the internet quality was going like this. It was like a sound wave. It was like, oh, it's perfect, it's terrible. It's perfect, it's terrible. And it kept going like it's fluctuating. And as it was fluctuating like that, the stream was going crazy. And I don't even know what caused it. I sat here for a half an hour hoping it would level out. It didn't. So I told everyone, let me just restart everything in my setup. Let me restart my computer. Let me restart my modem. I did, and it solved the problem. I don't know what caused it to begin with. I hadn't even been here the day before, so I don't even know what would have caused it, but it seemed to fix the issue. Did that have anything to do with ultra-low latency streaming? I have no clue. It could have just been a coincidence. All right? If anything, if this happens again, I think I know how to solve it. We'll just do that again and see if it solves the issue. But as of this morning, here we are streaming. Doesn't appear to be any issue. And we're having the ultra low streaming. So there you go. Yeah, this is going well. So far, so good. I like this. Because I basically held off on doing this for a while. And I said, how can I improve the streams a little more? I'm always trying to push a little bit. How can I improve a little more, a little more? And this was an idea I had. I saw. I was like, hey, this is just an option that's been there. The thing is, if you want to stream above 1080p resolution or 60 frames per second, YouTube outright tells you you can't do it. This is they need more than 5 seconds to process higher quality video. So in the future, if I do improve my setup, if I end up changing my equipment and I end up trying to stream at above 1080p, then I can't do it anymore. We'll have to go back to the old low latency streaming, which is about 15 to 30 second delay, and there's nothing I can really do about that. But for now, there's a distinct improvement, and I'm happy about that. In particular, I think this will help more during Q&A. Like today on the PreStream podcast, I'll probably do Q&A, and likely this will be better because I can react more quickly to what you're saying. And like Ask the King, which, by the way, I should call this out. Ask the King is next week. I really haven't talked about it yet. But yeah, Ask the King is going to be next week on Thursday. The main gameplay stream will not be gameplay. It'll be Ask the King. It's finally happening. It makes sense for us to do Ask the King next week because we got time for it. For the first time in like 4 months. Because originally we were supposed to do it in February, but there were so many releases, and then March was the same, so finally we're doing it next week. All right? So, if you would like to ask a question, all right, and have a good chance that it'll be answered in depth, a big elaborate answer live here on Ask the King, my Q&A show, please post it up. How do you do that? Type exclamation point Ask the King into the stream chat. A link will pop up by which you can click and go right to the forum thread, and you can post up your question there. Or if you're not live on stream, if you're watching this on demand, just go to DSPGaming.com to the forums. In the forum section, there's a section there for Ask the King, and that's where the thread is where you can post it up, all right? So please post it up, and thank you in advance to anyone who does. The more questions I get for Ask the King, the better the show is. So please post up your questions, okay? Okay, let's talk about the rest of the streaming week, okay? Tomorrow, Friday, will be LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga continuing on. It appears we're going to be going through the entirety of Return of the Jedi, plus all the interim stuff in between. And what I mean by that is this game not only has story-based stages, but it has all kinds of scenes and transitions and open-world roaming areas in between the stages. I wouldn't be surprised if there's Endor. Like, why wouldn't there be an open-world Endor where you're in the forest with the Ewoks and you're exploring, right? It's just kind of like a no-brainer. So I'm excited for that tomorrow. It's been a chill, fun playthrough so far. I can't wait for more of that. Tomorrow night, the return of Friday Night Fights, which is my old school Street Fighter stream for the week. And this week, we're definitely playing it on the Xbox Series X. Last week, we tried to play it on PlayStation. It was a nightmare. The few matches that I was able to get were definitely laggy and had a ton of dropped inputs. And then on top of that, the game kept crashing, having errors, glitches. It was a nightmare mess. It felt like out of the 2 hours I played it, I must have played for 20 minutes. That's how much of a waste of time it was. And it's not always like that. Sometimes we have really smooth streams. I don't know what happened. It was just like all bad luck last week. So this week, we're definitely trying it on the Xbox to see if it's any different, okay? Okay. Then on Saturday, more Elden Ring, and Saturday night will be Kirby and the Forgotten Land. For those who have not been following the playthrough, we are now in the absolute end game. There's one final stage in the Secret World, World 8, and apparently once you complete that stage, you unlock one more leg of challenging gameplay, and that's the true finale of the game. So we are right there at the tail end of Kirby, and we're about to finish it, okay? So definitely Saturday night will be the conclusion of Kirby. Then on Sunday, it'll be more LEGO Star Wars, paired with more Skyrim. And then on Monday, it'll be, to end my streaming week, Elden Ring. And on Monday, we are doing something new on the late stream, okay? What are we doing? That's up to you and your feedback. So what I'd like to do starting today is start gathering your feedback on all these different live streams. What do you want to see me do for a late night chill stream once Kirby's completed? Here are the options. Option number 1, MLB The Show 22. It came out on Game Pass this last couple of weeks. I think it was the first week of April. Obviously, I didn't check it out because I was busy with everything else. But that's a playthrough where if I just play, I could create a player, go through the minor leagues, learn how to play baseball, and essentially all I'm doing is swinging at balls and doing a little bit of fielding, which is kind of boring on face value, but we interact. We have fun conversation. We've had sing-along nights. I've played MLB in the past, and it's been a successful, chill, late-night playthrough. Okay? So that's a possibility number 1. Possibility number 2 would be to go back to the other games that I've already been playing on Game Pass. Here's some examples. Serious Sam 4, I Am Fish, One Piece Pirate Warriors 4, Quake, The Forgotten City with the final ending, which is going to take about 2 hours to do. That's just a few off the top of my head because we have like 5 or 6 games over there that I've started, you guys seem to like, and have wanted me to go back to, and I never had an opportunity to do so. So we could select one of those games, and that could be the game, excuse me, that I start playing late nights alternated with Skyrim, okay? Or, on the flip side of all of that, instead of just picking one game, we could do Game Pass nights. Bear with me. Here's what we could do, okay? Instead of saying, okay, I'm just going to keep playing One Piece till it's done, we could say, all right, so I'm going to have basically 2 streams a week, maybe 3, where it's open. Let's do Game Pass nights. And what we could do is a series of polls each week. What Game Pass game would you like to see next? And we poll for it, and people vote, and whatever wins the vote is what we play that night. So it could be one night I Am Fish, and then one night One Piece, and then one night Quake. The good news is I will alternate the game selections, so it won't always be the same games. Whatever game we played previously will be exempt from the poll, so therefore there's never going to be a double stream of the same game, which is good. That would be, I feel, good for variety, because we'd have 2-3 different games a week on late night streams while we'd still have the consistency of the Skyrim playthrough continuing, but we'd still get progress in all these other games, okay? So those are my 3 ideas. Either MLB The Show 22, sticking to one Game Pass game that we've started already, or doing an alternation between the other Game Pass games, like via polling, okay? Now, some things I'm not going to do, which I've already announced. I don't know why people don't listen. I've already announced the next major playthrough I'm going to do, once I complete either Elden Ring or Lego Star Wars, is WWE 2K22. That's going to include the showcase mode, which apparently by all reports is only around 3 hours long, and then starting up on my career mode, where I create a wrestler, we go through the training stages, we go through the early storylines, we get to the major shows, and I play the career of this wrestler, okay? People seem to want that. It's coming, okay? That's the next major playthrough. No, I'm not going to start doing it as a late night chill stream when I've already announced it as the next major playthrough that's going to get major focus and featuring on my channel, okay? So there you go. And it's hilarious because some people are just, oh, well, that would be better as a late night stream. According to you, everything would be better as a late night stream. Every game that's not Elden Ring is better as a late night stream. I can't just fucking play Elden Ring all day, every day. I can't. I can't play Elden Ring every major stream. That's boring. I did it a ton in March. Really, I focused heavily in March on Elden Ring. I got really far in the game. I'm happy I did. But even for me, I was getting bored of playing the same game every day. I'm a variety streamer, and I gotta play a variety of games. No, I'm not gonna play Elden Ring every stream. You're out of your mind. Okay. All right, so that's the rough plan. Now, also, as I said, next week on Thursday, the main stream will be Ask the King. So there will be one day there without either Lego or Elden Ring. It'll be Ask the King, my Q&A show, where we'll do fun talk and interactions, answering questions. It'll be a good time. I haven't done it in a long time. Christmas. Literally Christmas was the last time I did Ask the King. It'll be good to have it back into the rotation. Okay? Okay. All right. So, that's the deal with the schedule. Now, I told you guys I had an announcement regarding Elden Ring. All right? I do have an announcement regarding Elden Ring, and I'd like to make that announcement right now because I wanted to make it yesterday, and I completely forgot because of the stupid technical difficulties. All right? So, ladies and gentlemen, over the course of the last month and a half that I've been playing Elden Ring, I've done my absolute best to share my honest opinions about the game with you on a daily basis. I also have told you guys that I've watched multiple other content creators play the game. In addition, I've seen and heard other people talk about the game and or kind of, give their reviews on the game. Most people rushed through the game and beat it way more quickly than me. They felt like it was the only thing they should play, and a lot of people, even major content creators, beat it within 2 to 3 weeks, some people about a month. Here I am a month and a half in, I'm not done yet. Because I wanted to take my time with it. I wanted to get absolute as much experience with the game as I could, because I knew I was only going to be doing one major run. And I want you to understand, that's really the major difference between me and a lot of other content creators that have been playing Elden Ring. The difference is that I knew I was only doing one run. I knew that the game was so lengthy from the reports that once I got through it, I was not going to be playing it again. Now, I'm not saying I will never play it again. What I'm saying is this is a playthrough I've been doing for a month and a half, and arguably I won't finish it till the end of April. No, I am absolutely, positively not starting it over and playing it again right away. I need to take a break from it. If you guys later on, during the summer or something, want to see a second run, or even, at a later date, I'm all for it then. And what I would do is probably try to do a run that's much different. Maybe a magic run, like a sorcery run, because my God, early on in the game, if you go to Liurnia, you can find a ton of good sorcery stuff, right? Like, there's a lot of good sorcery stuff in this game, and I feel like maybe that's kind of the way they're pushing you for magic. Incantations, not so much. The incantations aren't that great, but I think the sorcery magic is well-versed enough. And by the way, sorcery is all alien shit. Who doesn't want to use alien powers to decimate their enemies? Come on, right? Maybe I'll get a nice big crystal head like one of the legendary sorcerers, right? Who knows? But anyway, the point I'm making here is, when I was playing Elden Ring here, I knew this was going to be the big playthrough, and I knew it was going to be a playthrough that I wanted to take my time with and experience the most in, doing all the major side content. Yes, undoubtedly I'm going to miss out on some stuff. I'm probably going to miss out on a few NPC quests. I know I already have. I know there'll be odds and ends here and there that I'll miss, but for the most part, I want to see every major area, fight every major boss, and experience the major majority chunk of content in the game, okay? Which is why, during my playthrough, I've tried to do variety for you guys, if you noticed. It wasn't me just picking one weapon at the beginning of the game and saying, okay, I'll use this weapon now for the rest of the game. No, it's me alternating weapons, right? I started off with a lighter sword. I ended up going to various curved swords with bleed damage. Then I ended up going to the golden halberd. I mixed it up and went to the magma worm sword. Then after that, I switched it up to a spear. Then I started dual wielding halberds. Then I went to dual wielding great axes. And now I'm using a boss weapon, my first boss weapon of the entire playthrough, the sword that I got after I killed Lord Rykard, which is a crazy sword with little arms sticking out of it. It's nuts, okay? So, all these builds have been kind of different and fun. And I did it on purpose to try to entertain you guys because I knew I wanted to bring maximum entertainment factor to you. However, it's been hard because wanting to do all the content in one run, the game definitely has a middle that kind of sucks. Here's why. If you do all the content, when you get to the middle, you're going to be over-leveled for it no matter what. It just seems unavoidable that you will be over-leveled for the middle. And because of that, I agree with you that when I hit the Altus Plateau, Mount Gelmer, and then, of course, the capital city, it wasn't the most entertaining stuff because I was steamrolling most of it. The only thing in the capital city that really was challenging to me was the stuff underground, the secret areas. Outside of that, the main city was kind of easy. And that's because, again, unlike most other people who played this game, I literally did my best to play everything. And when you play everything, you get so many runes, you're over-leveled for the middle of the game. Okay? Now I'm heading into the end game, and things seem to be getting tougher again. That's a good thing, right? Plus, I'm using a new build, so I am kind of learning again from the start. So this will be interesting, you know, to see how it progresses and how the game actually ends now. But what am I getting at here? Allow me to tell you what I'm getting at, all right? I feel like my experience with Elden Ring is very different from most other content creators because most content creators either rushed through the game to review it or they already knew that they were going to be playing multiple runs. So their first run, they turboed through. The second run, now they have a specified goal they're looking for. Their third run's a challenge run. I'm not doing that, all right? Instead, my experience has been more of an overall immersive experience in this universe, seeing all the content, trying to do as much NPC stuff as possible, seeing some of the shortcomings of the game that a lot of other people either missed or kind of glossed over because they weren't really playing the full game. You understand what I'm saying? There's a lot of people who their first run was only 80 hours. They didn't even see half the hidden shit, and now they're like, oh, the game's the best game I've ever seen, 10 out of 10. Well, yeah, but did you actually experience some of the mid-game stuff? No, you skipped it. So, my announcement today is thus. I'm going to continue to take my time with Elden Ring. I'm going to balance it with other stuff. And even if it takes me to the end of this month, which likely it will, to beat the game and see everything in it, that's how I'm going to play it, as I've done all along. When I complete Elden Ring, I am going to be doing a formal, full, honest game review of Elden Ring. All right? I rarely do game reviews these days. Almost never. In fact, I don't even know if I did a game review last year. I'm trying to think. I don't even think I did an actual game review in 2021. I'm pretty sure I didn't. Or if I did, I can't even remember what it is. I am actually going to do a full game review of Elden Ring. Now, sadly, I don't have the full capabilities of doing what I used to do with edited content. What I'm going to do is essentially me talk to you guys like this, okay, with some video footage playing. What I'll try to do is pick a few clips of Elden Ring to play during the video review. They may or may not illustrate what I'm even talking about. It'll be more like white noise footage to show that, you know, here's my playthrough of the game or whatever. But I want to do a full review of this game because I feel I have a lot to add. Why? Because I've looked at a few other reviews out there, and I swear to God, these people just didn't review the game fully. What they did is they talked about a run that they did, that they glossed through the game, and they didn't experience everything in the game. It's pitiful to me to see people who are well-renowned game reviewers out there claiming that this is like the best game ever, and they literally don't talk about the shortcomings of the game because they never experienced them because they rushed through it and skipped a bunch of shit that actually would have been part of a really legit, full, objective review. In addition, again, those are people who are going to play the game 4, 5, 6 times. Okay, how many of us are going to do that, right? Let's be honest here. Of all us average gamers out there who aren't Elden Ring content creators, how many of us out there are going to play this game 5, 6 times and experience it that many times, right? Maybe in 7 years' time. You're not going to do it right now. So for people to review the game saying shit like that, oh yeah, well in your third run you'll do this. No, I won't. I'm playing it once. And that's what my review is going to be. In one full playthrough, here's my honest review. All right? So what you're going to see is you're going to see me talk about the great things about the game and the game's shortcomings. Something that most people never talk about. 10 out of 10. Well, what about this and this and this? Never addressed. Okay, so you basically didn't play the fucking game, right? You know, and that's what pisses me off. All right? That you're supposed to be learning about this game. You want to know how good it is. So many people jumped into Elden Ring for the first time, first FromSoft game they've ever played, not knowing what to expect because the early reviewers said it's the most accessible FromSoft game ever. I am going to tear that fucking statement apart. Upside down and all fucking around. Because that's one of the dumbest statements I think I've ever heard in my fucking life. Seriously. All right? So anyway, by the way, what I do want to say is, don't expect a whole negative review and don't expect a butt-kissing review. Because my experience with Elden Ring has been high and low. I've seen really awesome, amazing things that I absolutely love about the game. I mean, I've been playing it for over 90 hours and I'm still excited every time I jump into the game to play it more. At the same time, I absolutely positively refuse to give From Software a pass on the shortcomings of this game because it's From Software. I'm not a fanboy. I'm a fan, but I'm not a fanboy. I'm going to be honest when I review the game. Okay? So, this is going to be exciting because you're going to actually hear something honest for once rather than these people just kiss the butt of FromSoft so that way they can get the clickbait views, they can get the big favorable treatment, and they can make the big monies. I don't care. I'm not going to get any of that anyway, so I can be honest in my fucking review of Elden Ring. Okay? So, that's coming. But I gotta beat Elden Ring first. Once Elden Ring is completed, then I can tell you guys, okay, I'm scheduling a stream. This will be the Elden Ring review. Here you go. Okay? I'm actually going to turn on my fan now because I want some air circulation. James Farmer says, what's your honest review of Sifu? Well, I'm not going to do a full review. You want me to, want in a nutshell? Sifu is a game that is beautiful, is original, and at surface level looks easy. Once you start playing it, you realize it's not, and it gets incredibly frustrating. But then once you master the systems of the game, it becomes absolutely amazing. It becomes one of the best gameplay experiences you can have in modern gaming. It's one of the best hand-to-hand combat games I've ever played, if not the best. And it has rewarding systems that once you learn them, you feel like you've become a master. Like, seriously, by the end of the game, when you're trying to go for the extra ending, not, you know, dealing any damage, but just countering everything, and you're able to do it, that's badass and awesome. That is actually one of the most original and best games I've played in years, and I loved it. Even though I raged at it early on because I didn't understand the systems, once I had that epiphany of how it worked, the whole game opened up to me, and I loved every moment of it moving forward. There's your Sifu review in a nutshell. Okay. All right. Let's continue, shall we? So, that's the big announcement. I'm going to keep playing Elden Ring at the pace I'm playing. Likely we will finish it by the end of April, and then I'm going to do a big official review of Elden Ring for you, which I almost never do, but I want to do a full review, an honest review of Elden Ring, which most people did not do on the internet. They just kissed the game's fucking butt, and I'm not going to do that. Okay? Okay. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, the only other thing that I like to talk about, a few quick things to gloss over, our memberships are going up. This is excellent. In the last few days, if you haven't noticed, memberships have increased a bit. If we keep that momentum going, that's outstanding. We still have half the month, more than half the month left to hit the goal of 400. Remember, if we hit the goal of 400 members by the end of the month, we get a big reward of me actually watching and reacting to the Down the Rabbit Hole video about me from 5 years ago. It's going to be epic because I've never done anything like that before. Yes, I'll be directly responding to some of the biggest criticisms that have ever been said about me. A video with over 6 million views about me. It's the big one. It's what people have said they wanted for years, and I will do it if we hit the goal. We're close. Just please, if you want to see that, become a member. If you want to support the channel, become a member. If you want all the exclusive benefits that you get, become a member. Just become a member. Don't delay. Act today. Okay. All right. Outside of that, the only news story today is that Elon Musk is trying to buy Twitter in a hostile takeover, offering them something like $40 billion. I don't even want to say anything, because if I do, Elon Musk won't like me and ban me from Twitter. And I like using Twitter. I need Twitter. I use Twitter for my business. I use Twitter to read news. If I can't use Twitter, I'm basically, it's a big problem for me. So I from now on, I will not say a negative word about Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the homie. He is the man. He is the guru, the all-knowing legend, and everything he says and does is correct. Okay? There we go. All right. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that's literally all I have to talk about today. I don't have any other real discussion or news. All right. So what I'd like to do is open up the stream to Q&A. Now, what I will do is a couple quick shout-outs first for those who contributed, and then we'll do open Q&A. On the YouTube side of things, we start off with Monk, who did a super chat, and he says, big ups Phil and his family. Thank you, Monk, for the super chat, and that was a nice thing to say. I appreciate that. Zoya did a super chat and says, in my opinion, max one chill stream should be in rotation at a time. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, unless what you're saying is there should only be one game as a chill stream at a time. So in Zoya's opinion, if I'm getting this right, basically there should only be Skyrim as a chill stream. And then everything else should be a major playthrough. I don't know. See, the thing is, that honestly, that would be kind of challenging. I don't even know if there's always enough major new games to warrant that. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, what new hot games came out in April? Besides Lego, which we're playing, which isn't really a hot game. It's a popular game amongst the mainstream, but there's nothing really going on. It's not like the last 2 months was too much. Now we've got almost nothing. You see, and this is what happens when everything gets loaded into 2 months, and then the rest of the year's dead because these idiots loaded everything into 2 months, right? So, I guess my question then is, what would we do if we refuse to do chill streaming games like Game Pass stuff? What are we playing? I don't know what we would do, okay? Okay. All right. So those are the shout-outs for Super Chats. Sadly, we don't have a single tip yet. None. Zero. Zilch. Nada. Nothing. The big goose egg. So I have nothing to shout out there. Ladies and gentlemen, let us open up the stream or pre-stream to Q&A, which now I'll be able to react to within 5 seconds. Will I ban Brandon if he breaks the rules? Yes. Frederick Knudsen is making a more up-to-date video on me. I spoke to him personally. Okay? Behind the scenes. And he told me he is not interested in drama videos moving forward. He likes doing more structured documentary-style content. And that, basically, he's very proud of the last few works that he's done. And that he wants to keep focusing on that. I don't know who you're talking to, but that's what he told me about a month ago. When I spoke with him about the possibility of doing commentary on his video. Maybe he changed his mind, which he's free to do. Here's the difference, though. Okay, here's the difference between the previous video he made and anything that he'll be making moving forward. And I don't know, again, I don't know if this is true or not. It could be bullshit, all right? Everything that was made in that original Down the Rabbit Hole video was mostly based on fact. Most of the things in that video were public fact, things people said publicly, things I said publicly, data that's right there in front of you. that you can actually pull and say, here it is, here's the data, right? Most of the bullshit, and I'm going to say that too, bullshit that's been said about me in the last 5+ years is bullshit. It's speculation. It's a nonsense. It's stuff that people literally fabricated, made up, or they took a piece of fact, and then use that to extrapolate monstrously with conspiracy theory and uncorroborated speculation to create these giant clouds of bullshit that aren't true. But what happened in the last 5 years is that people realized, oh shit, we don't even have to talk about real stuff about Phil. People believe anything. So we can literally say anything we fucking want and get away with it because there's no protections on YouTube for that. So we can literally just say and do whatever we want about Phil. Okay? So here's the difference. The previous Down the Rabbit Hole video, which I've watched in full, mostly factual. There's a few things in there that I feel that I can actually clarify and bring a lot of light to and or supplemental information to kind of more fully explain a situation that happened. I'm not going to say that those things are justifiably good that I did. What I'm going to say is here's the mindset I was going through at the time. Here's the dumb things that happened that I shouldn't have done, yada, yada, yada. Okay? So, that's the deal with that. But anything else, like anything from the last several years, it's basically hack work because there's no factual basis for this stuff. It's a bunch of bullshit. And so, if someone like him, at least, now again, I don't know if anyone's actually talked to him or not. All I know is what I know from talking to him about a month ago, where he said I could talk publicly about what we talked about. He even gave me permission. He said, yes, you can publicly talk about our conversation here. He said he is not interested in doing any more drama-style content. That basically, I guess that Wings video he did, Wings of Redemption, was the last one where he got, he did it, and after that, he's like, I want to move on and be a serious, documentarian, and here's the stuff I'm putting out. And he actually pushed me towards watching some of his other stuff. And I actually watched, not all of, but part of his history of Deep Blue, the computer that played chess, and it was fascinating. I was actually really thinking that it was fun, that was really well researched and entertaining and informative. I was like, this guy could actually have a really good future as a documentarian. It's just a shame that the things that get the most views are drama shit on YouTube, you know what I mean? So anyway, like I said, that guy seemed very well-headed and seemed like a good guy to me. Maybe he lied and he's going to do drama I don't know. I haven't heard that. I talked to him and that's what he told me. And that's why I said, hey, I'd definitely be willing to watch that Down the Rabbit Hole video because it's actually mostly factually true, and or I can clarify some of the things that maybe are not 100% true with corroborating explanation. Okay? Okay. So there you go. I don't know. All I know is what I know from talking to the guy. You can say whatever you want about bullshit, but I don't know anything about that. All I know is when I talked with him last. Okay? Okay. Let us now... Actually, I was going to do more open Q&A, but we got a bunch of tips that came in. So let's read out these tips. Okay? Eat salad stupid. Did a $20 tip. He says Elon Musk should bring out a perfume. He wouldn't name it Musk. He'd probably name it... There you go. Thank you for the tip. Eat salad stupid. First major tip of the day. Okay. Elden Ring Bro tipped me $4.20. It says, bro, how dare you lie about Elden Ring? It's a perfect game with no flaws ever. Shame on you, bro. There you go. Thank you for the tip. And Nico just tipped $2. So let's get the tips going for today. Thank you very much, Nico, for the tip. I appreciate that. Okay. Also, a very sizable super chat just came in from Gustav PC, who says, any change that you're going to continue with the Hateful Truth videos again? No. No. I am not going to regularly be doing reviews. As you guys know, I'm a full-time streamer now. I am not an on-demand content creator for YouTube in any capacity. You guys know this, right? The only on-demand videos that I make exclusively for YouTube are the Daily Wrap. That's literally it. And that's, what, 10 minutes a day, right? No real extra time required to do it to take away from my streams. I'm a full-time streamer. That is my occupation. In this case, with Elden Ring, I'm making an exception because it's pretty much one of the most momentous games of the last several years. It's the one that more people really bought outside of their comfort zone than really ever before. And that's why I want to do an honest review on it. Okay? So that's why I'm doing it. It's a rarity that I would do something like this. I actually did something like this with The Last of Us 2 years ago because I had a lot to talk about. So it's kind of the same deal here. All right? Okay, let us now jump back into open Q&A, guys. Please go ahead and ask some questions in the chat. I have no idea what's going on. I look back here and people are arguing. They're being stupid. Would Cyclops work as a replacement anti-air assist over Psylocke with Magneto and Storm? Yes, but lower combo ability. Monica, I don't even know what you're talking about. Members gameplay. We don't do that. Jay says, I'm always here but not feeling well today. I'm sorry to hear that, Jade. I hope you feel better. It's all good. If I don't see you chatting, at least I'll know you'll still be here watching in spirit. So thank you for that, and I hope you feel better. I'm sorry you're not feeling good today. Why do I keep putting labels on myself? Why not just do whatever chat asks? Because if I did whatever my chat asked, I'd probably be naked, covered in honey, running through the forest being chased by grizzly bears. Sometimes you got to take control of your own life. Just saying. Okay, then. Darziak says, do you still buy a large calendar to put game releases on? No. I have not done this in several years, although the reason is probably not the reason you're thinking. So if you don't know what Darziak's talking about, when I started doing this full time, and I wanted to know exactly when game releases were coming out, I started buying giant, right-on-wall calendars. You know, the ones that are laminated, and you unroll them, you can put it on your wall. And I used to do this back at my place in Connecticut. It was in my kitchen wall, and I would outline all the game releases for the year, and several times a year I would do, you know, game release update videos going through said calendar and showing the dates that games were coming out and that I was interested in. I even continued to do that when I moved out here for several years. I would say probably 5 years at least. I did that. I would have right here over on my office wall, I had a big calendar up, and I would update it with the game releases and all of that. And then all of a sudden it abruptly stopped. And people were wondering, well, why did it stop? There's actually 2 good reasons why. The first reason is because they stopped selling the calendars. I couldn't find them anywhere. I was going to like local office stores, and they didn't have them. They had the, like the wrong sizes or the ones I didn't want. That was only like a few months. They didn't have the yearly calendars anymore. I even went online and I couldn't find the sizes that I wanted. It was either like way too small or, you know, it wouldn't fit the office wall. So it just wasn't easily available anymore for some odd reason. And then on top of that, basically game release data started to being a lot more sporadic. And what I mean by that is it used to be that they would announce games like years in advance sometimes. Sometimes you would know that the game was coming like 8, 9, 10 months ahead of time. These days, just take a look at the game release schedule for the rest of this year. I challenge you to do that right now. I think we have like one or two, you know, solid release dates in the next 2 months. And then we've got a whole lot of nothing. Because the game release is just so different today. I mean, even with COVID, it really screwed everything up. And I get the feeling what's going to happen is in the next couple of months, we're going to see a lot of online digital events that will help populate the calendar with release dates. But it just stopped being a consistent thing. Literally right now, if I wanted to do, here's a gaming schedule update for everyone, the calendar would be empty. I'd be like, here we go, shit. You know? Kind of sucks. The thing is, now that I'm a full-time streamer, it's a little different than being a full-time YouTuber. We can do things on the fly and adjust the schedule pretty much appropriately. So it's not like I need to do a giant scheduled thing like that anymore. At any moment we can say, okay, well, guess what? We beat this game. Let's interject this game instead. Let's do this instead. Let's do that. That's the cool thing about doing that. All right. Okay. Rogue Jedi says, if you're self-described as a crowd-funded person, how come you refuse to do what your supporters request? I don't. For the most part, I almost always do what my supporters request within reason. There are a few times when things just don't make sense. Or things that I've tried in the past that didn't work, but then people ask for them again. Like, for example, this whole members-only thing. I used to do that. It was called patrons-only. And my patrons would pledge to my Patreon. And we would do Patreon-only multiplayer events. Number one, they were impossible to schedule because my patrons were all over the world, different schedules, different walks of life. It was almost impossible to ever schedule sessions that made sense where we could get more than a few people to play at once. That was number one. Number two, just not enough games to play. Even back then, when there were more multiplayer games to play, there still weren't enough games to really get everyone interested in playing one particular game. Some people wanted to play a shooter, some people wanted to play a fighting game, some people wanted to play a racing game. It was like, well, we can't really make that happen because it's too complicated, right? And in addition to all of that, when I actually did those events, the viewership absolutely tanked and no one cared and everyone complained, when is it over? Because if you're not a paying member who's involved in that, why in the holy hell do you care? Why would you want to see Phil play with members on a stream? Why does that affect you if you're not one of those members? It doesn't. In fact, it's content you probably don't want to see. So people complain about it, and now that I'm a full-time streamer, it's different than when I used to be a full-time YouTuber. I got to put out streams that constantly entertain my audience. I can't just decide that I'm going to make several streams that no one cares about. I have to be making streams that are going to make revenue so I can pay my bills. So that's why we're not doing members-only events. You'd maybe get a dozen people or more, maybe, okay, 20 people would become a member. So I'd appease 20 people. Wow, that's amazing. And guess what about my other hundreds of people watching and the thousands of people who watch the videos on demand and everyone who supports me? They're all left in the dust. So why would I waste my time organizing and putting tons of time and effort into organizing something that's going to appease 20 people? It's dumb. It really is a closed-minded mentality, and it's something that way in the past made sense. It makes absolutely no sense anymore to do anything like that. Zero. There would be zero net benefit to the channel and to the viewership. I know because I've done it before. It would be one thing if you were trying to convince me to do something I've never done before. I've been there, I've done that, I've seen it firsthand. It doesn't work. There you go. Okay. Ban this idiot. There we go. All right, next question, please. Ali Corny, you just earned yourself a nice timeout because you're being stupid. Enjoy your timeout. Ooh. Please, guys, if you're going to ask me a question, please tag me. I should emphasize that because I think some people are asking questions but not tagging me. And therefore, I'm trying to read it all. It's taking too long. If you could tag me, I know exactly what to read. So please tag me in your question and then I will answer it. Okay. Black Lady Walking says, I've asked YouTube to check in the super thanks again recently. No, because they literally told me. I asked, what was it? I want to say it was either, excuse me, it was either January or February. Okay. And they literally said to me, because I asked them, I said, what can I do to qualify my channel for super thanks? And what's the steps to getting it? And they literally said, nothing, and there are none. That was the response I got. There's nothing you can do. There's no way to get it. We will eventually give it to everyone. You will at some point get it, but there's no way to speed up the process. Just wait. That's what I was told. So why am I going to spin my wheels, keep asking them over and over, right? More and more people likely are going to get it, and eventually I'm going to get it, and when I get it, great, and I'll let you know when I do. I literally check every day. I check to see if it's there, and it's not there, okay? What was my favorite boss so far in Elden Ring? Whew, in the entirety of the game? I definitely liked the Moog boss. That was fun, because he was a unique build. He wasn't anything like any other boss in the game. He wasn't based on a boss from another game. He was challenging and fun, yet he hit really hard. That was a fun one, the Moog. That's the one from recently that I think I really liked, the Moog boss. I'm trying to think, like, I actually, what was it, Astel? The giant alien boss, that was fun, because that was also completely unique. It didn't fight like anything else in the game. That was fun. It looked really neat. I'll go with those two for now. Maybe there'll be more coming up, but those are the two for now that I'll go with, because that's off the top of my head. CM Fool just hit me $4.20, says you should do a Quiet Man members goal. Thousands of people will come out of the woodwork to see that. Yeah, I'm sure. Thousands of people named CM Fool and variations of the name CM Fool will become members just to see that playthrough. Okay, then. Let's see here. Only Fear of Death says, is using only one build in Elden Ring a bad thing? I tried to experiment with different weapons, but they don't seem strong or effective, so I resort to my original build. No, if there's a couple things that there's qualifying things. If you're just playing Elden Ring for yourself, play however the hell you want. Use one build, use multiple builds. Use summons, don't use summons. Cheese the fucking game, do whatever you want. You're playing it for yourself. Who cares, right? Okay? Or if you're planning on doing more than one run where you want to experiment, maybe one run you really like that build, just use it. But maybe you say, I'm going to go back later and try different stuff. Cool. But if you're a content creator like me, and all you're going to do is play the game once, and you know if you play it again, there's going to be a significant delay between playthroughs, I'm doing my absolute best to entertain you guys and do variety. Just like I'm a variety streamer, I don't want to just do the same shit the entire playthrough. I don't want to show you only one weapon, only one build. I want to vary. That's why I'm changing my armor. I'm changing my playstyle. I'm doing it on purpose for various reasons. I very much could have just went the Dick Lightning route. I could have went faith, and just thrown lightning bolts the whole game. Or I could have done other things. I wanted to change it up a lot so you guys could see the different things available to you in the game. Okay? All right. Gustav PZ says, which console do you prefer? Because last time, long ago, you liked Xbox 360. But then he says you were playing a game called Siren Blood Curse, but had a problem with sound settings at the beginning of the stream. Do I prefer Xbox or Okay, do I prefer Xbox Series X or PS5 is this question. You know, I'll be honest, now that I've played both consoles a good amount, I don't honestly think there's much of a difference between them. For me, it's more like my specific situation. In my specific situation, okay, I do like the Xbox design controller better than the PS5. I don't think the PS5 is bad, the controller. I just like the feel of this controller better. That being said, this controller's trigger sticks. And I haven't even owned it for a year, and it has a sticky trigger already. That's kind of a problem. On the flip side, with my PS5 controller, the thumbstick drifts sometimes. So it seems like neither controller is the best controller. Each has things that I like and don't like about it. The consoles themselves, they run games beautifully. They load games quickly. They have incredibly similar features. When you want to compare apples to apples, sadly, my PlayStation 5 doesn't do surround sound out. My Xbox Series X does. Why? Because they kept dual audio out on the Xbox Series X while they removed it from the PlayStation 5. The PlayStation 4 had it. So as a streamer and content creator, I cannot get surround sound playing PS5. I know that sounds stupid because it should have it and it doesn't. The only way you could do it is a way more complicated audio setup than what I'm going to do. You know, running shit through your PC, doing audio out from your PC and splitting and doing this and that, which is dumb. It should just have dual audio out like it always did. They took a feature out of the console that I was using just to save money. And that's bad, in my opinion. Also, you cannot deny the value of Xbox Game Pass. Xbox Game Pass is huge. It's a huge money saver. It opens up your library to a bunch of games that you probably wouldn't own otherwise, and now you can play whenever you want. It's a ginormous value, and it's been a great asset since I had my Xbox Series X. That's nothing that's available on PlayStation. Even with PlayStation's new PS Plus things that are coming, there's not offering anything equitable to what Game Pass is. It's not even close to the value, okay? One of the things I get out of PS5 I don't get out of the Xbox is the haptic feedback and the, what do they call it, adaptive triggers. It's okay, but it certainly doesn't add anything remarkable or groundbreaking to the games I play that have it. You know, I usually realize that a game has it for the first hour or 2 hours, and then I completely forget it's even a part of the game, and it doesn't really affect me at all in my decision-making or playing. Okay? So, that being said, they're both good. Right now, yes, I would say because of the controller I like a little better, the surround sound and Game Pass, I tend to lean more towards the Series X. I think it's slightly better. But, let's be honest, there's a lot of great exclusives on PlayStation coming, like this year, God of War, I cannot wait to play. We just played Horizon, I couldn't play that on Xbox, that was a good game. So, yeah, it stands to reason that if you want to play some better exclusives, you kind of need a PS5 right now. So, there's pros and cons to both consoles. At this point, I lean a little bit more towards the Series X, but I don't think there's anything saying, oh, you shouldn't have a PS5 or you should have a Series X over a PS5. I think they're kind of equal at this point. Elden Ring Bro did a $4.20 tip and says, bro, there's only one way to play Elden Ring. Stop lying. Shame on you for spreading lies. That's right. As you know, I am the biggest liar when it comes to games, right? I always just, lie out my ass about it. Let's see here. Alan says, wasn't the Xbox you got used? No, the Xbox was new, never used. It was purchased at launch, but never unboxed. It was sealed and everything. It was a brand new Xbox, unused. Do I think PlayStation should remaster Sly Cooper 1, 2, 3, and 4 on PlayStation 5? It would be nice. They did remaster Sly Cooper 1, 2, and 3 in a collection for PS3. And then, of course, Sly Cooper 4 was PS4, right? It would be nice to have a collection, yeah. The problem is Sly Cooper 4 way underperformed. They were hoping they were going to revive the franchise, and it did not sell well, and since then it's been completely dead. So that's kind of sucks. Oh my goodness. I got a yawn out of nowhere. Whew. You know, I'd really, really like to open my blinds, but I'm afraid the sun's going to come out. Let me try. I still got a little bit of time. Let's open and see what happens. The natural night light is just nice to have, you know. Greetings, Guts. Good to see you. How you doing? Zoya says, do you think Ask the King should be put on hiatus because of daily Q&A that I do? Here's the thing. Again, every time I've tried to do it in the last 2 years, people yell at me and say, no, Ask the King must continue. So we're going to do it. Let's see how it goes next week, right? Let's see how Ask the King goes next week. If it ends up sucking, then maybe we won't do it again, but let's see. This is the longest we've gone without it. I don't think I've ever gone almost 4 months without doing Ask the King. So Brandon says, will the summer involve going back playing more games you missed out on from the year, including Elden Ring, or doing more retro type playthroughs? I would like to do retro stuff. Some ideas of games I'd like to play: Chrono Trigger, Zelda Link to the Past, and Earthbound. Those are 3 that I'm interested in. I'm not saying I would play all of them. I'm saying that would kind of be the pool that I would like to look at and choose from if I was going to do retro style playthroughs. I'd have to see the availability of those games, obviously. I don't remember if they're on like the Nintendo Online service or not. Ooh. Excuse me, that was disgusting. I just had to get out of my system. I wanted to turn around. Okay. Alan says it would be great seeing older games again. I'd be in favor of that. It's been a long time, so. Am I going to play Klonoa this August? What? I don't even know what you're talking about. What the hell is that? Ali Corney says PS5 has a huge advantage. Xbox is the same on PC as it is on console. My cruddy school laptop can run it. Great, but I don't have a gaming PC, so for me, that's not an option, and that's why the Xbox makes sense. Expand Dong says, did you hear Dead Island 2 is behind the scenes on track to release this year? No, and I really don't care because it's a co-op online game, and the first one was buggy and kind of shitty. It was a fun playthrough doing it co-op with my friends, but I don't think I would even want to play a sequel. No, I have no guesses of what the Elden Ring DLCs are. I'm not making the game. I wouldn't know. Am I excited for Darkstalkers or Puzzle Fighter from the Capcom collection? I am excited for Darkstalkers, but I get the feeling I'm just going to get hosed. Like, I never played Darkstalkers. Here comes the sun, by the way. I never played Darkstalkers competitively. I did play it in arcades, but never in a tournament setting. I never got good. I had a friend who was so good at the game with Jeddah, I couldn't even fucking beat him around. I'm serious. Like, he was so good with Jeddah that he was like untouchable. And I get the feeling it's going to be the same. People will have these strategies and things I've never seen before and just body me. I'm not saying that I might not learn, but I think that it's going to be more like this. Me getting spanked by people who are actually good at the game. As opposed to when I play Hyper Street Fighter 2 in that same collection, it'll be the opposite. It'll be me doing the spankings like this, you see? So, we'll see. But I am interested in Darkstalkers. Puzzle Fighter, that fighting game, not the Puzzle Fighter game with the puzzle, but the actual, was it Gem Fighter Minimix? That's not even a viable fighting game. It's not competitive. It's completely unbalanced. There's certain characters that are completely garbage. It was purposely never played competitively because it's a broken game. As for like Puzzle Fighter, I never really played it. I only played it a few times. I never really liked it, so I'm probably not even going to bother with that. Okay. Would I consider going back to Dying Light 2 if people wanted it? Yes. I own the game. The game is sitting on my Xbox Series X ready to be continued after 15 hours. What's just funny is it seems like when I hit the 15-hour mark, people were like, okay, we see what the game is next. That seemed to be the attitude. I'd be open to going back if that's what people wanted. If you haven't noticed, when we're talking about what's the next game I should play, no one's saying Dying Light 2. Everyone's screaming for like WWE and stuff like that. No one's saying Dying Light 2. It's like the game never existed. Any chance of doing the original non-remake version of Final Fantasy VII? Yes. Yes. I would be interested in doing that. Absolutely. I told you guys I wanted to do that before the remake came out. And then everyone talked me out of it and said do Final Fantasy X instead. Excuse me, Final Fantasy IX instead, which I did. And then I never got to play the original 7. So yes, I absolutely would be interested in that. I would have to see what the latest, most viable version is to play, though. When does the gameplay start? After the pre-stream ends. Great question. Anything else, guys? Any more questions? The questions have slowed down. What is going on here? Is that it? Have I answered all of your questions forever? There's just nothing left to ask. Really? Apparently not. Will I do PC game playthroughs again if I get a new PC later this year? Depends on the PC. If the PC has the capability to play the game, capture, and stream all at the same time at high quality, it's a possibility. Right now, that was never a possibility. Even the games I tried to play ended up affecting the stream quality and stuff like that. But we'll see. And by the way, there's no guarantee this is happening this year. I want it to. I told you guys I'm starting to get interest in it. That after I beat Elden Ring, that would be when I'd be open to that. But I need, we got to get to that point first of all. And then I got to see behind the scenes who's willing to help. Because I don't know if the people who were willing to help last year can still help or not. I know I can't afford it. I'm barely affording the stuff around here as it is. So, just listen to this. Godzilla's giant dino dick tipped me $2 and said, Phil, could the Germans have took Stalingrad in World War? What's your expert opinion? 42. That's my expert opinion. Excuse me. Thanks for the tip. Let's continue on. Can I do a Dex playthrough of Elden Ring later? Possibly. Like I said, eventually I want to do a second playthrough of Elden Ring. I do. I don't know what it would be. I don't know if it would be... I'm thinking magic, but if people had other ideas, I would be willing to do that too. Let's see what happens in the future. Everything's a possibility. Will I do another Friday Night Fights with Grog? I would, but he has to be available, and he has not been around. He has all my contact info. I told him if he ever wanted to do another one to reach out, and he hasn't. So, it was really fun doing the one night that we did, but it might have been a one-off thing. Who knows? Why not use my old PC as a streaming PC and the new one for games? Because this old PC is on it's definitely on its last legs. This old PC I've used it 8 years daily. And we see every once in a while there's issues. The mic's dying. This capture device right now, oh my God, is definitely on its last legs. I step near it and it errors. So it's not going to last forever. It definitely needs to replace both the capturing system and, the possibility of gaming too. I don't think I'm getting 2 new PCs. I'm just saying. Why don't I ever play with other creators, friends, or such? Because no one wants to collaborate with me because of the trolling element. Because people know there's a large mob of insane trolls on the internet who follow me everywhere and try to toxify everything I say and do. People don't want to associate. There have been people over the years who have been interested and or kind of had some involvement with me. We even talked about doing the possibility of co-op or stuff like that. And then they got harassed by my trolls and they gave up and they said, please stop. We don't want to do this anymore. That's why. That simple. Is Elden Ring easier so far than the other Souls games? I would say it's easier than a lot of them, but not all of them. Not all of them. To this day, I feel Dark Souls 3 is the easiest FromSoft game ever made. I don't have a new PC and a new capture card. Someone at Fruit07 says, well, can you stream at 1440p with your new PC and capture? I don't have a new PC and capture card. What? No, I'm not doing a hot wings challenge. It's disgusting. I don't even like wings that much. And I don't mean the content creator, I mean the food. I've told you guys, I don't like chicken wings. There's too little meat on them. They're too messy. You end up eating a bunch of fucking skin, and you gnaw on a bone. It's like, what am I eating this for? Give me some real food. I hate I hate chicken wings. I don't know, Fruits. I don't know. When I get a new PC, I have no idea what I'll do. You know, I was just talking this morning. I said, we just started the ultra low latency streaming here on YouTube. This allows only 5-second delay between when I do something and you see it, right? You can only do that 1080p 60 frames. You can't go above 1080p. It says right on YouTube, you can't do a higher resolution if you want that. So immediately, if I get a new setup, if I try to go higher resolution, you guys will lose a benefit. So I don't know. How many people realistically are going to watch me at 1440p or 4K? I don't think a lot. I don't think so. Well, it certainly seems to me like people's questions are dying out because I'm not getting many or any intelligent ones. So I think we're nearing the end of the pre-stream here, guys. Excuse me. Woo! Woo! How was my day? Very gassy, as you can hear. The seltzer is having some reactions. Brandon liked the pre-stream, says it was a lot of fun. Awesome. Amzy likes the shirt I'm wearing. I do too. My wife got me this Stone Cold shirt, and I like it a lot. Any chance of playing multiplayer games? Yes, tomorrow night I'm playing Street Fighter multiplayer. So yeah, I gotta close my blinds because the sun fully came out, and I can't even. Right now I can't even see my television. Don't I drink regular still water? Yes, I do. At night I drink filtered water in a thermos. During the day I drink seltzer water out of there. No, I'm not going back to Poorly Cooking with the King. It's been over a decade. I'm not going back to it now. No, I'm not doing a USB pedal. I'm not a fucking musician here. USB pedal. Every chance I get another pet? Maybe. Maybe not. Not out of the question, but I'm not a big consideration. Matthew's happy that I answer questions. A lot of other streamers don't. Okay. Eternal says, I hate how you call people stupid. That's hurtful. I know. I wish people would stop asking stupid questions and I wouldn't have to say that. Yeah, I know. Will I upgrade my PS Plus on the spot when the new services drop, or will it be a wait and see? It's a wait and see. I don't think there's any reason to do it right now. I've already said I don't see the value. Unless you're immediately day one going to jump into playing classic games or going to jump into playing a game demo for a big new release, there's no value to it. It's not like you're going to get new games at release, you know? It's only like, okay, this month I'm planning to play some retro games. Let me upgrade my PS Plus subscription so I have access to the retro games for the month, and then when I'm done with the retro games, dump it. Why keep it? You know? All right, let me close the blinds. I opened up, now I closed them. Oh, stretch the legs. Oh! Oh! Shit! Oh! Oh! That was a good stretch. I'm glad I stood up to stretch before I started with gameplay. That felt really good, actually. Get the blood flowing. Get the blood flowing and the juices going, as they say. Whew! Okay. Which From Software game would I recommend to someone who only played Elden Ring and enjoyed it? If you've only played Elden Ring and you enjoyed it, Dark Souls 3 for sure. And then start heading backwards, I almost feel. Like Dark Souls 3 and then maybe 2 and 1 or 1 and 2. 1's the hardest, but it's the most fun in my opinion. Like out of the originals, I like 1 the best. I still love replaying 1 to this day. While 3 is a good game, it's the easiest there is. I don't know. It doesn't really... There's some good stuff in it for sure, but I don't know if it stands out as much as 1. Like 1 is still like... I still remember everything about it, you know? Okay. Having a heart attack? Yes, I'm having a heart attack right now, obviously. You can tell. Derek works for the CIA. Be careful. Do you see what I mean about stupid? Do you see my point? The longer this goes, the longer I entertain it, it degrades into like drivel. At first, the questions were actually quite good, and now it's like, Let me get my controller. Yeah. Ugh. Would I like to see Simpsons games remastered? I guess it depends on the games. The classic like NES and Super NES games were terrible, and I hated them. But some of the more recent ones, like Hit and Run, that would be good as a remaster. Then again, didn't I play the remastered version? I don't even remember. Hoy. I do not accept Bitcoin. No, I do not accept Bitcoin. Sorry. Ugly Tuna Roll has tipped me $5. Says, morning, Phil. I'm glad to be here. Cheers and happy Thursday, mate. Thank you, Ugly Tuna Roll. That was a nice thing to say. That was a nice contribution to help the stream. I appreciate that. We're only $9 away from hitting Tier 1, which is cool. We didn't even start with the game yet. Thank you guys for that. No, there was no Hit and Run remaster. I played the original PS2 version. Oh, okay. Then they should remaster that. They absolutely should. What dead game franchise would I like to see return and get a new game? Infamous. Because I would say Dead Space, but Dead Space is getting a new game, and the game studio that made the original games are making a completely different IP, so that's already covered. But Infamous. Infamous, I loved Infamous 1 and 2. Yeah, Infamous Second Son wasn't nearly as good, but it doesn't mean that the whole franchise should die because there was one outing that was a little bit worse. I think that they could have actually done much, especially now with modern consoles, what you can do with these graphics and everything. I think that this is a game that could do way better, but I don't know what happened. No, it's not a $600 super chat. That's like, it was like 600 Singaporean currency, which equates to, I don't know, like $50 or something like that, I think. Yeah, it definitely wasn't $600, guys. Still incredibly generous. So thank you to that person who did it. Gustav, right? But no, don't, people are getting the wrong impression, I think, right? Okay. All right, last few questions, guys, before we jump into Elden Ring, all right? Here we go. Refreshing some screens. I actually haven't refreshed them in a while. Make sure that they're all working. Thank you to Todd, who says he's a fan from Thailand since 2017. Hope I'm doing well and keep up the great content. Thank you, Todd. Was it Swedish? It was Swedish kroners. Is that what that currency was? Oh, okay. Swedish kroners. I don't know anything about foreign currency, so it's like, whoop, right over my head. Just like that. Ali Corney, how could I possibly answer a dumb question like that? You had to keep spamming the chat. When did I first start accepting tips? Well, actually actively accepting a tip as a contribution was probably when I started full-time live streaming in 2017. Because previous to that, you could pledge to my Patreon. And I think I did have like a donations via PayPal, but that was like a side thing where I barely ever talked about it and no one really did it. It was literally like you could cheer when I streamed, but it wasn't a big deal. No, wait, now I'm really having a brain fart because no, if you remember correctly, when I was on Twitch originally, there was no cheering. It was just subscriptions. That's right. When I originally streamed on Twitch, all you could do was subscribe. That was the only way that you could contribute to a streamer on Twitch. I left Twitch, I went to YouTube, and there was none of that. There was no memberships, no super chats, nothing. I came back to Twitch in late 2016, and in 2017, when I became a full-time Twitch streamer, I enabled the subscriptions, cheering, and tips. So there you go. It's been about 5 years that I've been taking tips. Yes. I'm getting on a commercial plane next week for the first time. Any tips to share? Man, actual brother, all I could do is give you advice from when I used to fly all the time. And what I would say is be prepared for the best and the worst. Like, I've been on flights that were nice and comfortable. The air was refreshing on the plane. It wasn't cramped. The people were nice. The flight was beautiful, no problems, smooth. You were able to nap if you wanted to nap. You were able to watch some TV if you wanted to watch it, because usually they have it now in the seats. You can listen to music, or you have to read a book. It was all fun. I've been on flights where it was crammed to the gills with people, like fully jammed. It was hot and stuffy as shit. Even with the air on, you could barely breathe. It was turbulence out the ass, so you couldn't enjoy the flight. You couldn't sleep. You couldn't the food would come, oh, here's your food, a bag of fucking pretzels. Gee, thanks for the fucking pretzels, I'm hungry. Bullshit. And the thing is, you pay the same amount of money for the shitty flight as you do for the good flight. They're all the same. So, yeah, I would just say, do your best, all right? Do your absolute best to prepare. Bring a light jacket, but don't expect to wear it because it might be too hot. Do something to have, like, usually the seats are okay. Some flights I've been on, the seats are very comfortable. Others, they're terrible. It really depends also on the age of the plane. Like, you get on a plane that's relatively within the last 10 years new, it's usually good. Then I get on a plane like the headrest busted and shit, it won't fucking work, and the tray table's fucked up. Yeah, it's basically prepare things so that you have things to do. You definitely want to have things to do, because if it's a bad flight, and let's say, oh, I was planning on napping the whole night. What if you can't? What if the flight sucks shit? You need something else to distract yourself. Hopefully they'll have TV. Most of these now have television on a screen in front of you, and you can just plug headphones in. Bring headphones, by the way. You don't want to pay for headphones on the flight. You usually plug your headphones in and, you know, listen to everything that way. Oh, Cracker Jack says first class is the only way to fly. Well, yeah, I'm sure if you're like part of that kind of people who can afford first class. I've personally never been on a first class flight, nor will I ever. Oh my goodness. All right, guys. Let us end the pre-stream. Let us begin with Elden Ring. Thank you for the support. Let's do this.